So minor differences, minor arguments, there are a lot of things we can learn to neglect when we start looking at a bigger picture. When we want to sync with Paramatma, you have a bigger picture on your mind. So small things you can try to forget. And when you start forgetting small things, and little by little, it comes to a point where you find yourself helpless, but to love. You cannot even not love. And that flow of love just start flooding your mind and the heart. And it's a beautiful feeling. And to enjoy that flow of life is Tao.
Yes, sir.
So, because the thing is that mind has to give up at some point, right? Because mind keeps on saying that, oh, you have to love your spouse, you have to do this, you have to bring roses, and you have to buy this, and you have to buy that. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything.
I keep telling her that. She doesn't.
Actually, it's true.
But the thing is that
That was the message I said. There should not be anniversaries, there should not be birthdays, there should not be Valentine.
No.
Every day should be birthday, anniversary and Valentine. And you don't have to do all those things.
No, but it doesn't mean that if you don't do anything, it means you love it.
That's true too.
Converse is not
no, what I'm saying is that love should not be based on those things.
Exactly.
With those things or without those things. I'm not saying don't buy anything. What I'm saying is that when you love someone, it doesn't really matter whether you buy or not.
Right.
And of course, if it reciprocates, it gets even better. But right now, we are not even talking about the opposite side anymore. We're talking about only ourselves. Right? And when you love, and if the things keep them happy, you do it, but that's routine, mundane thing. But the true love that you have it inside, which is totally unconditional, is the beauty by itself. And that makes your journey of life so much more enjoyable. So, that's why the Lao Tse says the winning is not important. It's the enjoying life in a proper way by understanding the cycles of life, the ups and downs of life, and the flow of life. All that is the way to live life, right? Lao Tse also says that, so if you want to win, be prepared to lose. Be able to lose. Create the ability to lose, right? And if you want the praise, don't ask for it. If you want to be praised, like 10 people should come and tell me how nice I am or how beautiful I am or whatever, the expectations is going to hurt you. So expectation, if you never had it, it wouldn't really bother you. Because Mahavir always said that if you don't want to be rich, who can call you poor? It's your desire to be rich makes you poor. Then you attend certain parties and this and that guy, okay, this guy has that, this guy has that, but you don't have it. But if it's your desire that is hurting you, not the reality. Reality is something else. So anyone who wants to be praised, then we talked about the way, the mechanism, why that happens. People invariably come and says bad things about you. Because the thing is that everybody is walking around with the ego. Good morning. And everybody has an ego in their head. So the ego wants to win. So my ego wants to win over everybody else. But their ego wants to win over everybody else also. So now there is a struggle. There is a constant struggle going on. And the higher you go, less and less people can fit. And the highest mountain you reach, there is only one person. So the struggle is going on. There is a constant competition going on. So if I agree, if somebody says something good about me and that tells to 10 other people, they will have a tough time digesting it, because by saying that, they look inferior. So they're not going to say that. But on the contrary, if I say something bad about someone else, it's easy. Oh yeah, I knew that. So we talked about that, right? So if I want to be praised, don't ask for the praise. It will automatically happen. The expectation to be praised is the sure sign that you're going to be criticized. So that's what they call it, the futility of contention. So all that process is useless. So don't even worry about it, right? So the problem is that everybody has an ego. Everybody has stiff mind. Nobody wants to bend. And so everybody is walking around stiff with each other. And that's why we cannot really mingle. We cannot have fun. We cannot have true friendship. We cannot have true relationship. Even down to the bottom is like even the smallest relationship is all tainted with egos. And that's why there is no fun. That's why people say life is so boring and life is not fun anymore and there is so much stress. And all these things are creations of the ego. So, last time when we finished the talk, I talked to Akilaven. Is that Akilaven, right? So she mentioned a good point. She says that tree and the grass example was very good. I'll try to use it next time. And and then she had raised a good point, and it's very high philosophical discussion, and it's very subtle. I'm sure we can get it there. See, the thing is that she said that, so we should try to do this instead of this. We should try to give in so that we can win. Because if there is an argument going on, right, and you really want to win, so one method is to argue back and shout,
Right.
and then win and try to prove, and hopefully you will win, hopefully not, or maybe not. But what if they use this method, and by this way just bend and do not argue, and that way the person looks stupid because he keeps on shouting or she keeps on shouting and you don't even respond, and you say okay.
Right.
So then it looks like then ultimately you win.
Yeah.
But that was where we talked about it. So that is another trick of the mind.
Right.
If you're using the Taoist technique just to win that argument,
Then
then
again,
you're
defeats
missing
the
the point.
purpose. Yeah.
Then you're missing the point.
Defeats the purpose.
Right. So the thing is that the way to handle the whole thing is to sink at a very high level. So with the flow of the Tao or the flow of Paramatma, and sinking with that all the time, where winning small battles don't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It's the war we have to win. And the war is not with anybody else. The war is with our own ego.
Yourself.
Our own, that's the main thing. So we have to constantly keep that in mind, that is our final focus and destination, not winning or losing small arguments here and there. So by letting it go, you're not necessarily trying to win that particular small battle. So that was very subtle that we have to understand that. Because then mind will say, see, you did this and you won now this time. So again, it's a trick of the mind, right? So it's almost like saying, like I said last time, if your clothes are dirty, if your hands are dirty, and you try to clean the dirt from your clothes, it's not going to happen. You need water. And the water will come to you in the form of Paramatma. So the clean water from that will wash off everything. But your own efforts trying to clean yourself is not going to work. It's almost like a surgeon trying to operate on his own appendix, right? He'll never do that. So you have to have somebody else's help. So when we're making efforts to become good or look good, that we're losing it. So that efforts themselves are driven by the mind. And that's where we suffer, right? So, so the same way people look at that Patanjali's, 8 steps, Ashtanga Yoga, right? They look at it in a totally different way. So they say that this first step is yam and niyam and this and that and all that. But yam and niyam is what they cannot do. Yam, like if you try to talk to the Western people, they say you have to stop alcohol, you have to stop eating meat. How can you do it? How can I do it? So I cannot progress. It's not like that. See, the thing is that whatever situation you are in, and by cleansing yourself, you using what? So far you even haven't gotten the glimpse of the spirituality. So when you are cleaning yourself, you are again doing a method that you're using which is devised by the mind. So mind is again operating, and then mind is going to assess itself whether I'm right or wrong. Did I do this or not? I go to the class, did I do better than him or not? So again, the duality never ends. So that's why we talked about it, that 8 steps are not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're all simultaneous.
Integrated.
They're all integrated as a total life, the way you live your life. So Rajneesh gives a beautiful example. It's almost like a child is soiled in feces and urine. He's not going to say that how can I call my mother, I'm so dirty, So let me clean my dirt first and before I call mom. No, you just call mom.
You're right.
And mom comes and mom does the cleaning. So at some point, that's where once you have this intellectual understanding, then the faith in a higher power comes in. And that faith will have a solid foundation. And that's why we talk about is the Shraddha and the faith. Blind faith is literally blind. It doesn't know anything. And sometimes all these people who have the blind faith, when it's really tested in a difficult times, it falls apart. So you have to, whenever somebody is, say, I would rather have a Nastic who does not believe in any of these things than somebody is Astic right from the birth or right from the beginning, because he's been told that this is the way you do it, and this is your Shraddha, and this is the temple you go to, this is what you do, and that's the end of that. So when you say yes, 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 yes to everything, what is the meaning of that yes? But if one person says that, no, I don't believe this, at least he's making a point. He's making a stand that he has a chain of thoughts that he's going by. So by saying no, at least he's being aware of his own mind, and he has some spark inside. And once he argues, and believe me, scriptures have all the arguments.
Right.
You go through the scriptures, you will lose, guaranteed. No matter how much intellectual properties you may have, you will lose. But once the Nastic loses and becomes Astic, that's permanent. Those Astics will never waver their faith.
Right.
And that's real faith. So by trying to clear yourself is not going to work. Because again, it's effort driven, right? So karma, again, karma does not take you anywhere. So ultimately, it's the grace of God that will come in. But if you just believe in grace, then you're becoming lazy, basically. You're not going through the whole process of going through the Shravan, Manan, and Achran. That dissection of the whole, and you get that knowledge, and then you put it in your daily life to time test it. You test it every single occasions that you go through, whether I should have done this, I should have done that, maybe I did this, and then you really reap the benefits. And then you jump into the faith. And that's when the real faith will come in. But if you just jump into the faith without going through all these things, it's basically a sign of laziness. So you're really being lazy. And I give the example of a person that I know. She's in India. We talk about it all the time. And she taught us. He said, no, this is good. This is, whenever, we have problem, we talk to her. Oh yeah. And exactly the same, basically, the philosophy that we talked about until now she has diabetes, and now she's panicking. Oh, I'm going to die. I have blood pressure, and my sugar is 400, and what's going to happen to me, and this and that. That faith, what happened to the faith, right? So when you say Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, it should be 100% devotion and nothing else, right? But it didn't happen.
You mean it, right?
Yeah, when you say it, you have to mean it. But when you just say it, it's on your tongue, it's not in your heart.
Right.
So, another point Lao Tse is making is becoming empty. Becoming empty is becoming full. So, what does it mean? Say, emptying out your ego again. Is say, when you want to have Paramatma within you, there has to be some room. If the room is not there, it's not going to come. And it's like when there is a ditch, there is a hole in the ground, and there is a big mountain on the side. When it rains, what happens? The ditch gets filled with water. Mountain doesn't get anything. Whatever it gets, it loses it. On the contrary, the water from the mountain also goes into the ditch. The ditch becomes full. So you have to have an empty mind to have the heart that's going to become full. So the thing is that there is not a square inch left without the effect of consciousness. So, but you have to empty out first for the consciousness to prevail and consciousness to start going into your... But when the ego is dancing around inside, God has no place. So for consciousness to exist in your life, don't be afraid that once I empty out everything, what's going to happen? It's almost like people are always afraid that when I die, what are people going to say? He died with not even a good house, not even with good furniture he didn't have, and he died. So who cares, right? When you die, who cares?
Right.
But even to the point, they cannot give up all their attachment to the possessions and all that, right? So what good is that? So we are always afraid that we'll die empty. And that emptiness haunts us. But the thing is that when you empty out, something is going to fill it. And that filling is going to come from the tails of the winds of consciousness will flow it in. The pleasure will be there, contentment will be there, there will be a lot of good things. And it will be always good things because it's coming from Him. But when we question, that's when He says, okay, then I'll see you later. Next life maybe.